Tuesday morning's top end set on the floor press was 268 pounds for one set of 8 consecutive repetitions, which is encouraging because that means I'm pretty close to rolling 2 1/4 plates on the floor press for a pretty high rep range. And that's encouraging, at least to me it is, especially because backing off for my 4 working sets to follow my top end set, I was still above 2 plates, and that is a victory on any pressing variation, even if it's a limited range of motion. I definitely feel like I'm moving in the right direction and developing some reasonable strength, or at least strength that I consider to be reasonable. Got the T-bar rows rolling here, 5 working sets, 18 to 20 reps, a small volume PR, definitely an adequate pump in the mid and upper back, maybe a little bit too quick of a pace, but overall the execution was crisp. Some reverse hyper face pulls here, high rep sets, really building out those rear delts. As I've mentioned in previous training vlogs, this has quickly become one of my favorite face pull variations, one of my favorite rear delt exercise variations. And then we got the close grip bench going, top end set for 10 with 187.5, an all-time PR, and then I backed it off to 170 and managed to stack up some considerable volume there. I wasn't able to maintain that 187.5 across all of the sets today because I was just shot from the floor presses earlier in the workouts. My triceps didn't have all that much left in the tank. Finished off with some kettlebell laying extensions here. As per usual, my forearms appear to have been cooked well before my triceps, but such is the name of the game with this particular variation. Very, very difficult to maintain a grip on. So I'm human. A part of me wanted to put the 25s on each side of the bar here. 270 is pretty darn close to 275. What's 5 pounds between friends? Let me tell you, it's quite a lot considering that I would not have cleared all of the working volume, and the math makes sense. It was just a slight progression that I was making here. And if I had added that 5 pounds, I likely would have missed a few reps on set 5 and 6 respectively, if not earlier on, considering that 5 pounds over 8 repetitions really is a significant increase in effort required. So I'm glad that I stayed the course, which I consistently do and which I always suggest our clients do as well, because again, the math makes sense. Some pull-throughs here, which I'm finding very challenging grip-wise. I got to come up with something for that, or I just got to suck it up and stay focused on the task at hand, but definitely killed the posterior chain here because right after the bell squat pull-throughs, we went into high rep dimmels, 30 rep sets. The glutes were gone. And apparently I'm incapable of counting. It must have been the incredible fear that I was feeling on the infamous incline bench, but I was intending to do 225 for 8 consecutive repetitions and lost count and did 9, which I'm encouraged by because it's better to miscount and go one above, assuming that you don't miss that attempt, than it is to miscount and miss by 1 rep and not have the energy left after the top end set to reclaim the victory you had been initially aiming for. Backed off to 195 pounds here, managed to count all of the back off sets correctly, so that's encouraging. I've redeemed myself. Some pendlay rows here, 150 pounds, 5 sets of 8, but on the final set I did actually burn this out for 20 consecutive repetitions. And then we have some chin-ups going, trying to rebuild that upper body strength, regain the capacity to do chin-ups. Quite a bit of flopping around here. Form is not up to standard, but we'll take it. Just the fact that I can pull myself up for multiple repetitions, I consider this a victory, especially when you roll back weeks previously and pay attention to how poorly I was doing with just a basic pull down with 90 to 100 pounds at a time, and not even managing to successfully pull that down in a near symmetrical fashion. 4 sets of press downs with the hammer grip attachment before finishing off with some alternating bicep curls. Just a little bit of pump chasing happening here. The sleeves are certainly stretching. No surprise when you're doing 25 rep sets, 25 reps per arm to clarify. with the 25-pound dumbbells. That was a successful Saturday session for sure. 8 surprisingly. And it was just one of those days where I felt that I could take on any weight on the bar. And those days don't always happen, so it's worth noting them when they do. Cleared the back off work here with 225 pounds. Top end set was 250. 4 working sets to back off with before moving along to the belt squat. Getting some solid work in there. 320 pounds. That is inclusive of the sled that the plates themselves are loaded onto. I believe that counts for 27 pounds. If I recall correctly, working on getting adequate depth on the belt squat, sinking nice and deep into the hole while maintaining the same foot placement that I would underneath the bar. Definitely can confirm that the legs were cooking after this. The belt squat is a sneaky little exercise or training apparatus. It catches up to you when you least expect it. You'd think it'd be a lot easier because of the loading, but it's not. Finished off this week with some loaded back extensions, and that was a wrap.